So today we're going to talk about Tesla and answer any questions you guys might have about Tesla as a company, as a car company, as a battery company, because Tesla is more than just a car company. They make software which drives the car, but they're also doing AI for autonomous driving. They make vehicles that we can physically drive, and they make battery packs for cars, for enterprise, power grids, and home storage. So there's a lot to unpack when it comes to Tesla. Um, a lot of people get confused when they talk about stock pricing. I'm not giving any stock advice or anything, but um, they'll compare Tesla to other auto manufacturers. And the problem with that is those other auto manufacturers make cars, trucks, semis, but they don't make anything beyond that like Tesla does. So um, that's kind of one thing that I try to remind people when they start trying to have a debate about Tesla or whatnot. But Tesla as a whole is about moving the whole industry forward into the electric future. I did not buy a Tesla because I wanted to save the planet. I got a Tesla because I wanted range, I wanted to save money, and I wanted something fast. And I didn't get fast or range when I had a Nissan Leaf. That car, if I was lucky, would get me about 150 miles. So when I do jobs in San Diego, I'd have to drive down there, charge, um, and then return home. With a Tesla, I can go down to San Diego, I can do a job, I can come back home, and then I can get ready and go out with my wife, go to her parents in Long Beach or whatnot. So the range is what I wanted. If money wasn't an option, I'd probably get the Porsche Taycan, but that's way out of my price range. And there's one other thing that's holding me back from getting a car like that, and that would be the charging network. Right now with Tesla, the supercharger network is really robust. It's everywhere for the most part in major layovers where you would stop to get gas or whatever. Tesla has implemented charging stations in the most common routes, and they're still building that out. Uh, so that's the one thing about getting another EV like I did when I had the Leaf is you're charging with Gen Pop. And when you're charging with Gen Pop, there may only be two stalls and there could be six people waiting. Whereas if you pull up to Tesla supercharger and there's six people waiting, there's probably more than six stalls. I have been to stations that only have six stalls, but generally speaking, they're 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 plus chargers. And the charging rate is a lot greater than what I got with the Leaf. So the wait time to get to the stall to charge, if there is a line, is a lot shorter. Um, One thing a lot of people talk about is Tesla's not always profitable and they may go under. And my personal preference or point of view on this is I'm not so worried about that because their charging infrastructure is so great and the battery technology that they have compared to the competitors, another auto company is going to buy them up. They would not just go to the wayside. So I don't feel that Tesla owners have to worry about things like that. Um, does anyone have any questions about Teslas or the battery infrastructure or anything like that so far? All right, so I'll go ahead and continue. Sorry, it's a little warm in here without the AC on. It makes too much noise. Uh, so, like I was saying, if Tesla were to ever be in a position where they go under, obviously an automaker like the VW Group or Mercedes or Ford, Toyota, one of those companies would most likely not pass on buying the technology and the infrastructure for charging that Tesla's started. Okay. We have a cat in the room. Come on. So sorry about that, guys. Um, so that's kind of one of the advantages to having a Tesla is just that infrastructure of charging. And a lot of hotels are starting to have um, destination charging, and they have it for regular EVs as well. But that's the advantage having a Tesla is you can charge at a non-Tesla charger for um, non-supercharging. So your overnight charging or things like that. A Tesla can plug in with just an adapter, whereas I think someone makes an adapter, but it's pretty expensive. About the China built Teslas versus US built units. From Tucker Lee, have I heard anything about the Chinese built Tesla versus the US? So the Chinese built Teslas are going to Europe right now. They are not currently importing those into the US, but those are the new refresh. Not the refresh battery pack, but those are refreshed for the interior, the headlights. Um, I believe the tail lights are now amber for the turn signal instead of red. And yeah, so the internal, not internal, inside the car, you have the new center console, which doesn't have the flip up. They also got rid of the piano black, which I am going to be looking at to see if I can get um, the new center console put into my Y because I don't like that piano black and that flip up. The only concern I have with that is um, the current dash cam is underneath the phone charger, and in the new car, the dash cam USB is in the glove box. So I'm gonna have to do some research. Derek on YouTube did a center console swap, but um, sorry, the cat is go. Um, but he did not answer anyone's questions about the dash cam. So the Chinese ones seem to be built well. I've seen some videos of them being delivered in China, and they haven't found any major problems with those. I hope that answered your question. Unless you wanted some more detail, you can let me know. Just in case you guys are curious, this live stream is being powered by the sun and a power wall. All right, cool. So one of the reasons my wife and I decided to get the power wall is with any kind of solar. If you have a power outage, you lose complete power. Um, and our electricity from 4 to 9 is really expensive. And so for us, having a power wall power that just kind of made sense. Um, yeah, we're expecting to see a refresh for the interior um, Model 3 and Model Y in the US probably pretty soon. They probably just have to get through the back stock of center consoles, and then we'll start seeing those. So, is Tesla a good company to work for? I would say so. Elon seems to take care of his employees. He's very employee centric. So I would say if you could get a job at Tesla, you're probably going to have good benefits, and I think it would be a great environment. So a little bit about me and my experience with Teslas is my wife has a Model 3 and I currently have a Model Y. We do have one gas vehicle. We have a truck for my work. But other than that, we're pretty much an electric car family. And that isn't, like I said earlier, because we're trying to save the planet or whatnot. It just came down to what made financial sense. So I wanted a sports car. I was debating between getting a zero motorcycle and a car again. And I decided to go with the Performance Model Y because I wanted something. I wanted to go with a car, and getting another AMG. It was so expensive to fuel that thing. I was spending $900 a month on gas, where with the cars we're spending $200 a month on electricity to charge both of them, and that's only if we charge strictly at home. There's a lot of places out there that offer free charging that we take advantage of. And then one thing I want to talk about with you guys, I don't have streaming software. This is my first time streaming, so sorry about that. Was the refresh on the Model X and the Model S and that yoke steering wheel. So Elon seems to think that it's not going to be an issue. Um, I kind of think they would have had that worked out beforehand, but it kind of sounds like they didn't. Um, So my concern, I know there's aftermarket companies that make yoke steering wheels for the 3 and the Y, and I personally never driven a vehicle like that. But when Elon was on Joe Rogan and he was talking about F1 cars have that kind of steering wheel, one thing that I'm concerned about is on an F1 car, when you're driving, full lock is a right angle. So it depends on the steering radius of those cars, and we haven't been able to see any of those because they have not been released yet. They're still sitting in the Fremont factory parking lot. So it's going to be interesting to see. And also if Tesla offers a standard steering wheel as an option. Because I think it was Derek on YouTube who found that. And he found in the code that Tesla had a regular steering wheel and a yoke steering wheel. But what I'm more interested about is the no gear shifter. That really intrigues me. How the AI is going to know how you pulled in last when you park and which direction you want to go when you leave. And it sounds like it's going to be very intuitive with an override system where you can swipe on the screen, which is really neat. I do hope they bring that to the 3 and Y. As for Tesla as a company and reliability, that's one thing I wanted to talk about. How difficult is it to get charger at your home if you're looking at getting a Tesla, if you have a garage or an outside outlet, 120 will charge the car at 5 miles an hour. But if you want to actually get a charger that charges 32, 44 miles an hour, the Tesla charger wall connector is $550. And then you just have to pay an electrician to put in a 60 amp breaker and run the wire. Um, it's hard to say because electricians charge different in different locations, but it's a safe bet to say you can get an electrician to do the work anywhere from 400 all the way up to 1200. Just it really depends on your location. And some people opt to just do an outlet and then get the 30 amp plug for the Tesla charger that comes with the car. I personally didn't do that because if that were to ever fail, I don't have something to fall back on to charge the car. So if my Tesla wall connector were to fail, then I can fall back on the charger that came with the car. One thing I wanted to address was Tesla and reliability, the way the news portrays Tesla, and the way the fanboys portray Tesla, and the way I portray Tesla. The news seems to be very negative. If there's a Tesla that catches on fire, um, Tesla gets a lot of bad press. Then the fanboys come out and they defend Tesla uh, tooth and nail. And the way I see it is anytime you mass produce something, you're going to have eventually some things that do fail. But with the nitpickiness of the fanboys about the panel gaps and um, things like that, I think all car companies have problems with panel gaps. Maybe not to the extent that Tesla has, but that is obviously something that most car companies do have. I just saw Lexus the other day that had pretty bad panel gaps, and those cars are generally put together pretty sound. So I'm not trying to defend Tesla on this, and I'm not trying to trash talk to other brands on this. I'm just trying to show a point of view that not I think the panel gaps are kind of overblown. In some cases, they are bad. My hatch, the panel gap was offset enough where it was rubbing, and they did address it, but it would be nice if Tesla would address those things before the cars leave the factory. Um, but for cars like blowing up or whatnot, that happens with gas cars all the time. It's not something that's just strictly related to electric cars. So I do find it funny that the media likes to go after Tesla and say how dangerous they are and whatnot. I kind of have more of a neutral stance where anything that has wires, whether you're running gas to it or electricity to it, there's always a potential for a certain percentage to fail. So that's just something that we have to expect, um, that will happen no matter what. You cannot have 100% foolproof. Just like when we go full autonomy for driving, we're never going to have 100%. It's going to be the march of the nines. You're going to have 99.99 and so on. And at what percent does the government deem the march of nines is safe? So it's just the point I'm trying to get at is that nothing is ever going to be 100% perfect. Anytime something is made by man, there will be errors. And I think even with robotics building cars, one thing I do wish Tesla would take a little more pride in is their paint quality. That is one thing that I will ding Tesla pretty hard for. Is I do see a lot of people that get brand new cars on delivery day, and there's some pretty bad paint imperfections. Now, the paint factory that they're building in Berlin, Germany, that's a new state of the art paint factory. So we should start seeing the cars coming out of Germany being top notch for paint. And I think we're going to see a little bit higher pride of work coming from the German plant. Does anyone have any other questions, or do you guys want me to keep going? All right. So Tesla as a whole, like I've said earlier, they don't just make cars, they make power packs. So there's a power plant in Australia that has a gigantic battery pack made by Tesla that handles emergency surges. And I believe they're going to be breaking even on it pretty soon. So the fact that Tesla was able to build this gigantic synced up battery pack of these different bays, that can take the demand from the grid is just amazing. Easter eggs. From Tucker, do you think there are any super secret or amazing Easter eggs in the software that haven't been discovered? I've seen some things that suggest they exist. Do you know what? Knowing Elon, I would not be surprised if there's Easter eggs we have not found. He he loves to put Easter eggs, like the was it the Roadster vent, and then he showed that it was just a blade of light, and that was the roads or the Cybertruck. And there's always I wouldn't be a bit surprised if you do something with the buttons on the steering wheel, kind of like the old Nintendo A B up down to unlock something. I would not be shocked if someone found something like that. Actually, now that you mention that, after the stream's over, I'm gonna go look up some old Nintendo codes, and I'm gonna go try them just to see, and I'll let you guys know in another video if I find anything. That'd be awesome. He should have an ultimate Easter egg where if someone unlocks it, they get a free car or something. The car on the shelf behind me. Oh, It's a Lego Mini Cooper that my friend gave me that I put together. As you guys can see, I have a TIE Fighter, the Mini Cooper, a Saturn V, and then the space station and a Ferrari F40 right there. I like the Legos. I'm waiting for Lego to um, get licensing from Tesla so I can have my little Tesla. I'm not gonna buy one of those die-cast ones that are $250. I'm not that much of a fanboy. Although I mean, I try to be as unbiased as I can, but I will say I do enjoy the product that Tesla provides, but I try to have an objective point of view. That way, I don't become one of those fanboys. And anytime you like something, you get excited about it. So when people ask me things about Tesla, I get really excited, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think that's awesome. Like one of my best friends is really into Mercedes, and when you start talking about Mercedes, he gets really excited, and that doesn't mean that he will he hates all other cars and Mercedes is the best, but it just shows passion is there. That's not necessarily a fanboy thing, but it that I guess it's a fine line for that. But so with Tesla as this company, they're now also, well, not now, but they're starting to push out the solar roof, which is another aspect of the company. Is it true if you tap on your Tesla camera, then they can't see if you're driving back in response? Saw it on TikTok. All right. Oh, oh, the repossess. That was a joke on TikTok. That was not real. Um, the car is not full autonomy yet, so it would be illegal for Tesla to have the car leave your house and go back to a service center to repossess it because they do not have permission from the government for full autonomy without a driver behind the wheel. Those TikToks are funny though. Yeah, I wish I had streaming software. This I apologize. This is my first time doing this. If I had streaming software, I'd be able to pull one of those up and show it to you guys. Um, they are pretty funny. So with Tesla, they're pushing out the solar roof. So more and more customers are starting to get that. We have just regular Tesla solar. The only reason we went with Tesla over another vendor was when we got it at that time. If you used a referral, Tesla offered a 30-year warranty on the solar and the gateway, and the Powerwall they offered a 10-year warranty. So that's why that was the only reason we went with Tesla. Um, I the best warranty I was able to find out there, besides Tesla, was a 20-year, and that extra 10-year just gave me a peace of mind. And I think the price difference was negligible. It was maybe $1,000 extra, but for that extra 10 years, because once you get past that in solar panels, there's you start to get your degradation, uh, and they still produce, just not as much as they did as new. So that's why we went with Tesla Solar. I know it kind of sounds like I'm a fanboy because I have Tesla Solar, Powerwall, two Teslas, but it all comes down to dollars and cents for me. What makes financial sense? Um, so yeah, Tesla as a whole is a big company, and that's kind of it can also be a downfall of Tesla is Elon is stretched really thin. He's running a company that doesn't just make cars, they make AI software to drive cars, they make cars, they make car batteries, they make home batteries, they make grid batteries, and then they make big battery packs for data centers. And they sell solar, and now they're doing the solar roof. And Elon also spends a lot of his time in SpaceX. So that is a lot for one person to take on. So I do think that eventually he's going to have to pick and choose what he wants to be in charge of, whether SpaceX or Tesla. And if I were to put money down, I would say he's going to choose SpaceX in the long run. Tesla, he created to get the rest of the auto industry moving in the direction of EVs. And I can see him moving on to fully SpaceX because he wants to uh, put people on Mars, which I would volunteer to be the first person. Um, if you guys follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you'll see my info is occupies Mars with cats. So yeah, so back to charging. That's Electrify America is who's doing most of the build out for Gen Pop EVs, and when I say Gen Pop, that's pretty much all other EV manufacturers because they cannot charge at superchargers. So we have Rivian coming out. Um, we have the new Audi. That new Audi uh, car looks really nice. I think that's probably one of the most beautiful EVs personally. Then you have the Audi SUV. They're both e-trons. If you want something to giggle about, go ahead and look what e-tron means in French. Um, I'm gonna keep the chat or keep this clean, but go do see what that means in French. It's kind of funny that no one in the VW group looked that up first because they do sell cars in France. So, um, and you have the Porsche Taycan, you have the Nissan Leaf, you have the Konas, the Kia Kona, and we have a lot more EVs coming down the pipeline. But it's just that Gen Pop charging. I think the infrastructure is not as there, at least in the United States, as it is with the Tesla supercharger network. There are still problems. Like I have seen videos on holidays when people are trying to charge and the supercharger's full and there's like 30 cars in line. But um, yeah, the V3 supercharging is going to solve a lot of that as they put those out. The V3s and the 72 kilowatt, the destination superchargers that they're putting at malls, seem to be the most supercharger stations that they're installing right now. So as a whole, as a company, it's it's really nice. You don't have to have an account for each charging station because you have Electrify America. You have, oh gosh, how can I not remember these? Um, EVgo and Charge Stop, and there's some others. And you have to have an account with each of these. Where with the Tesla, you pull up, you plug in, the car knows, the supercharger knows the car, and they bill your card. It's just really convenient. So once the Gen Pop charging becomes more standard, like Tesla superchargers, I think we're going to see decrease in Tesla sales because people will have that option to charge on the go. I don't think it's going to completely cannibalize Tesla. I think Tesla as a company has grown a strong following from car enthusiasts like myself and some of my friends. And then you have the Elon enthusiasts, and then you have the Save the Planet enthusiasts. So there's all sorts of people that drive Teslas. Um, uh, I'm personally the person that bought the car because of the technology, how fast it is, and yeah, it's awesome that I'm not putting out carbon emissions. That's a nice benefit, but I didn't buy it because of that. And that's okay. There's people that buy Teslas just for that. There's people that don't buy Teslas because of that. And there's no reason that we can't just get along in the Facebook groups. That's one problem that I do have with Tesla is the Facebook groups seem to be pretty toxic. And I think part of that divide is the car enthusiast versus uh, the pollution, anti-pollution enthusiasts. So that's one thing that I wish in the Facebook groups people could get along better. It would be a little bit nicer. But anyways, I think that's it. This was a good live stream. Thank you guys for joining in. And I really enjoyed talking to you guys about Teslas. I hope you guys enjoyed. And I will see you guys in the next video.